Hi, I'm Deborah, licensed marriage and family therapist, and I am doing these lives Tuesdays and Thursdays as my gift to give anyone who wants to join a safe space to pause and process. And I have been doing this for quite a bit. If you look at my pause and process on the nervous system, it describes a little bit more about what I mean about processing. In a nutshell, we have all been through a pandemic, two wars, and lots of change, and then we all have our own personal stress. And as my mom recently passed away, and I have to move, so I have so many things going on, and yet all we have is time, and we need to make time to pause. And I usually show this jar because this is like our bodies. And when things are happening, the dirt represents all the stuff we haven't been processing. And it just really blocks our vision and it gets activated when we're dealing with people. And so you'll see that as that sits there, which is what we're doing, is we're sitting. Hopefully, you're sitting. I chose to do this during lunch to hope that everyone's taking a break to nourish their bodies as well. And today I'm going to talk about nonviolent communication as well as walk through a loving kindness meditation when dealing with someone challenging. And all in under 30 minutes. So I do want to know that my master's degree is human development family studies. I specialize in trauma. I have certificates and specialization in trauma. And I specialize in human development, working with children and parents. So I technically have never done a training in nonviolent communication, yet I love learning. And so I share the link. I share all the links to all my talks in my detailed description. But you go to Nonviolent Communication, their website, and I'll share the link. And you can even download this um, image, which is talking about basic needs and feelings. Because basically, all negative behavior, yelling, shouting, whatever it is, that's why we need to pause and process. It's going to come out and explode. All negative behavior comes from a state of stress, unmet needs, and lack of skill. And there are some other negative energy influences that can happen that are outside of our control. But basically, um, it's all comes from a state of stress, physical, emotional, chemical, relational, environmental, wherever that stress is coming. And then we have, and then unmet needs and lack of skills. So I love to teach some new skills. I love to teach about that. But this is like pretty much if we're having our needs met and we're feeling safe, then we're going to have good feelings. We're going to feel fulfilled and satisfied. Um, Whereas if we are not having our needs met, we're going to have more negative emotions. And we all have vital needs. And the ones that I promote the most are feeling safe, sane, soothed, and secure. Safety is really important. I've done a talk on neuroception, which is what our brain is on 24/7, scanning for cues of threat and safety, which actually that is what I've written in my book. And I do want to announce that I'm actually going to be at an event coming up to promote my book at Thornton's Distillery. That's April 13th. And I'm also going to be on a radio show, 8:20 a.m. Not 8:20. Yes, 8:20. And also talking about my book. But the main concept of the book is teaching about how our brain works. And pretty much we are scanning all the time, seeing for cues of threat and safety. And I share many images of my book. I'm trying to see if I can find the one easily. Let's see. I cannot find it quickly, the one that I want. Here we go. Here's one. Basically, when we feel safe and loved, then we're going to be able to feel the positive feelings, be able to access our higher functioning skills, and have empathy and be kind. Whereas when we're feeling unsafe, we're going to have more of these negative feelings and have more negative behaviors and not be able to connect with people. And so I'm actually going to relate this a little bit to nonviolent communication. Marshall Rosenberg is who developed it. Um, Highly recommend going to um, their website and also YouTube. You can YouTube him talking. It's amazing. I mean, he would go to countries and use this strategy to help warring nations not getting along, and he would come and talk and use nonviolent communication. And some of the main principles are actually, let me show this one first. This is my thumbnail 'cause I like this. That kind of relates to now I'm adding my own understanding and knowing. This image comes from dailynvc.com, so I did not make this image, but I really like it. It breaks it down. You'll see Marshall will use puppets a lot in his talks, and so he would use a um, giraffe. And so when we're in a state of feeling safe, love, and connected, then we're able to be more objective. We can see things through clarity. That's actually, so if you look at my jar, it's starting to get more clear. That's why it's so important that we need to take moments to pause. It takes on average 20 to 30 minutes for our minds, body, spirits, and nervous systems to get some clarity and some calm. And I know we can't always make that time, but we really do need to find some time to do that. So, and it's just even just taking a few breaths. So, when we are in a state of feeling safe, we can more easily see things more clearly and observe. Witnessing is another term I'll use a lot. We can connect to our feelings, not only our feelings, we can connect to the feelings of the other person. We can hear them. I'll often say with couples, because I'm a marriage and family therapist, I'll say when you're yes, when we're in conflict, and if you can keep self-soothing yourself and grounding yourself, really focus to listen to their cares and fears, um, and their needs. Their needs are so important. So figuring out what they're needing, and then what you're needing, what they're needing, and also when you're communicating to make requests, specific requests to get your needs met, to see if they're willing to do that. Whereas when we're in a state of fear, which is where most of us tend to, and we're all going to do this. Again, it's not bad or right or wrong. We're that takes an eighth of a second to feel like we're sensing a threat or perceiving a threat from whoever is talking to us or the data that's coming at us. And so, what we tend to do is we make an interpretation, what we're going to react and do based on our own lived experience. We're going to have some sort of interpretation. We're going to make a judgment. Judgments, we're all going to judge. I talk a lot about mindfulness, and wanting to be mindful means paying attention to the particular moment without judgment. Yet I just also want to acknowledge that initially we're all going to do this kind of judgment because it's actually a way that our brain saves energy, and makes things quicker and faster. Because obviously, if we thought about everything all the time, it's very overwhelming and draining. So we actually do judgment. Um, but that's why it's important to pause to make sure, is that true? We need to take some time to process that to really make sure our judgments are true. And then, as you can see here, like when we're interpretation and judging, we're like cutting off our hearts. We're not like able to sense and feel. We're just all up in our head. We're just like and then we're like, oh, strategy. How are we going to get them? This is a lot where debate comes from. I'll share a lot about debate versus dialogue. We're just like, oh, I just got to prove I'm right, and then we make a demand on what we need. So this if we're doing this, this is a good indicator that we are feeling threatened. We are in a state of fear. We have unmet needs. We're feeling stressed. We're having a lot of feelings, and we're reacting. Whereas I love the model of nonviolent communication, as it breaks it down in ways how to communicate more clearly. So. Um, and this is a little bit more image. And again, go to their website. You can follow, listen to videos. But I like this really image. I just love this infinity sign. Um, sorry, the printing is not so great. Um, but it breaks it down how it has you, and then have and what you're also observing on the other person. And so And again, I tend to use the word notice. I recommend using, but here, you're just in your own. I observe what you're seeing, imagine. Um, when I hear this come up, this is what I'm noticing, this is what I'm hearing. Uh, Feelings, you're helping to figure out what you're feeling. You're also, so like whenever you're going to communicate, you want to stick to this side. Figure out, okay, what am I noticing? What are the patterns? What's coming up? What are the feelings? What am I needing? And then you go ahead and make a request. This is where it's often recommended to use I statements. If you go to my website, I'll share my tips to healing conversations. That has a little bit more to this, but um, this is the nonviolent communication model. Um, and then you also want to take these steps and work through it to whoever you're having an engagement with, that you're not able to see eye and eye, and it feels like you're having more conflict than not. So again, I highly recommend their trainings. Go to their website, um, check out nonviolent communication. As basically, we all have unmet needs, and we just want to be heard. Feeling heard is so important. And it's so important to figure out. That's actually, if you go back to that, if you go to their website, you can download this one for free. We all have vital needs. I'll share my link as well to what I address as vital needs, but we're all needing something. And so if we can listen to our fears and cares and needs when we're in discussion, that would really help. So thank you for listening. And as I'm doing these, I usually talk for the least first 15 minutes. And now I'm going to walk us through a lovely meditation. And this is called um, a loving kindness meditation with a challenging person. So you're going to call up someone that you're having a challenge with. Um, so it's really important when you do this that you're feeling safe and comfortable where you're at. If you're not, that's okay. Then don't just listen to see the languaging and the wording and see if this resonates with you. With everything I share, take what feels right and leave the rest. Um, but if you are in a quiet, safe place, I encourage you to get comfortable. Sitting in a chair in a comfortable position. You could lay down if that's possible, if you want to. You can keep your eyes open or partially close them or close them completely. You listen to what feels right for you. And let's take a nice breath in and take at least 2 or 3 conscious, nurturing deep breaths. In through your nose, long exhale through your mouth if that feels comfortable for you. If you notice, I just tend to put my hands on my heart. But this is also a technique, a strategy, as it reminds you to bring loving attention to yourself or to the situation that you're in. Going live for me is still relatively new. I still get nervous, talk fast. There's so much I want to say, but I want to keep these short and sweet. So I'm giving myself some kindness as I breathe into that. And now I want you to bring an image of a person that you may consider, you may, in our fear based mind, consider and judge a difficult person. No right or wrong here. We're all human. We all do it. Matters more how you learn to respond with love and gratitude and space and grace. So imagine this person who is difficult or challenging for you. And I want you to remind yourself that this difficult person is struggling to find his or her way through life. And in so doing, is causing you pain. Say to yourself, just as I wish to be peaceful and free from suffering, may you, that person too, find inner peace. And me being a therapist, I do have to add some insight here. I think it's so important not to judge yourself. Still, what they are doing is hurtful and harmful, and you have every right to have those feelings. Them having difficulty in their life does not mean that you um, need to go ahead and forgive them so easily. You can still set boundaries and protect yourself. So, going back to the image of them, this person that has been challenging or causing some difficulty in your life, I want you to sense the value of these words. And again, only say them if they feel they flow. If they don't, that's okay. May you be safe. May you be peaceful. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. And it is okay if feelings of aversion, disgust, anger, guilt, shame, or sadness arise. These phrases may sound hollow alongside these emotions, and that's okay. It's so important to label the emotion you're feeling without judgment. Just notice it. I'm noticing sadness. I'm noticing resistance to wanting to say this. I'm noticing anger. And I want you to practice compassion for yourself. May you be safe. I'll say, may I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be kind to myself. May I accept myself as I am. So, again, as you're witnessing those phrases, as you're saying them to someone who has been challenging for you and causing probably a lot of disturbance and stress and pain and suffering in your life, it would make sense to have feelings of um, anger or guilt or shame or sadness. Again, there's a whole range of feelings that come up. If we had more time, this is what I do in therapy, is we help you connect the dots. That often these feelings make a lot of sense if we look back into your history. For now, just offer yourself kindness if any of these negative emotions are coming up. If it's hard for you to say these compassionate phrases to this person in your mind's eye. And if after saying, may I be kind to myself, may I accept myself as I am, and you're feeling a little better, you can try again with that difficult person in your mind's eye, saying those compassionate phrases of may you be safe, may you be peaceful, may you be healthy, may you live with ease. And just go back and forth between yourself or the benefactor, the difficult, challenging person, and make sure the energy of the goodwill pervades as much as possible. So again, whenever you're hitting, oh, this doesn't feel right, go back to your hand on your heart. A few talks ago, I did about thinking about someone who brings you joy. So that could be, I had done when my cat and dog are cuddling, or it's often my children. You can also anchor into an experience like that. there's enough negativity and stress in this world that it's so important that this space you're carving out is for peace and ease and compassion, permission to be you. And so sometimes I use somatic therapy. So sometimes I would have to, if that challenging person was also bringing up some trauma, then I would say, let's put that then in a container. I've shared about a container in past talks. And you can even just maybe choose, like, I know for me, when I go to shopping, I don't particularly enjoy shopping. Now I've learned to enjoy it more, but I struggle when I see parents yelling at children and getting mad at children when I know how overstimulating stores are and they totally are trying to get children's attention and children don't have those tools. And so it really hurts my heart when I witness parents being angry at children. And then I also have compassion for the parents because I know what it's like to be a parent. And so when it said, bring, if you can't think of a challenging person, I would often like send love to that parent and say, oh my gosh, and to the child. So that would be the benefactor. That would be my way to cope when I was overwhelmed and feeling like I didn't have anything else I could do and I was feeling the stress. I'd visualize that parent and send love to that parent, compassion, wishing them to healthy, may they be at ease. I know this isn't easy. I would give love to that child that's getting in trouble for being a child. So if it helps, just breathe in. Maybe a neighbor has been causing you some grief, or someone driving. Like maybe it's not someone that's so big and difficult, but just someone who just you ran across and you know disturbed your peace in a way. You can also extend some compassion to them to practice if the difficult, challenging person was too much. So important to meet yourself where you're at. There is no right or wrong. And as much as I wish there was a foolproof formula to apply to every situation, um, everybody's unique. Everybody is different. We need different things at different times and different ages and stages and different contexts. So here's another set of phrasing I'm going to give as you're breathing. Again, if you need to put your hand on your heart, if you want to exhale any negative energy, you can exhale. And before you end, and to release this difficult person or a benefactor or whoever you chose, um, may I be safe. May I and all beings be safe. So we're going to say that last thing to ourselves in our mind's eye. May I and all beings be peaceful. May I and all beings be healthy. May I and all beings live with ease. And gently scan from head to toe. It's like you're going through a machine, a gentle machine. And just notice any thoughts, feelings, sensations, memories that may have arisen in your mind, in and around your body, in your mind. I meant to have you do a scan at the start because you may have, as I was talking earlier for the first part, it might have activated some things in you, your day. And I'm hoping now that after taking these conscious deep breaths and saying these kind phrases, has brought some softness and lightness to your mind, body, spirit, and nervous system. And you may, if your eyes were closed, you may open them. That actually comes from, I'm sharing many meditations from the self compassion and mindfulness meditations from the Center of Mindfulness Studies. That actually comes from Toronto. This was written in 2015. So whether you can find it, I just found it and really loved it. So I weave in though my own my ownness to it to make it unique and tailor it, as I've been a marriage and family therapist since 2001, almost 25 years. And I remember having my first physical office in 2013, I think, 2012, around there. And I remember trying mindfulness for my very first sessions in live with people. And I remember feeling so nervous. Am I doing this right? So, and I still get nervous. This is a different platform doing this live. So I really appreciate your patience and you joining me along in this journey, as it has been something my voice has been calling me to go live and speak more. So thank you so much for joining. And all my lives and other positive reframe videos are available. You may subscribe, please share. Feel free to ask me any questions that you'd love for me to address in future talks, as I would love to do that. I really love sharing information and shining light wherever I can. So take wonderful care.